We are extremely pleased that you can be with us today, Professor Jinghai. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
President Tula Terry, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gave me a great honor to discuss the so-called logic and landscape of knowledge system, and in relationship with education and research. I'm not engaged in education so much, but I'm engaged in research. Fortunately, I believe they are similar, not same, but they are similar. So, and Magnus asked me to focus on education, but I'm 30, almost 40 years in research. So if I speak too much on research, I'm sorry for that. Yeah. I discuss 4 points. The first is the background. That is the paradigm shift of scientific research and also the education, as discussed by the last speakers. The second is the current challenges and the missing links in knowledge system. So that is critical. Without knowing what is challenges, we don't know where is the direction for the change. The third one is there any common principles for these big challenges? And the last one is what is the action, as request from the lady speaker. So first is what is the background? So now we discuss so much. We are now looking for the new paradigm of scientific research. And I will discuss the first, what is the scientific research paradigm and what is the relationship with the transdisciplinarity, and what is the interplay between research and development. And without understanding for the first 3 points, it is very difficult to resolve the great challenges we are facing. And that's, of course, the challenge, but that is also opportunities. We must respond quickly. And so we need action. So particularly the action in reform the education system and in research system. So the first background is paradigm shift. We discussed so much, and someone believes the paradigm shift is characterized by the data intensive. It is right, but that is not the whole picture. And the most important is the change in scientific research, not only for content and also methods and even the domain. For instance, the scientific research content will shift from stationary average to the dynamic structure, and from the local phenomena to the system behavior. So that's critical for the new breakthrough in science and technology. The same thing for methods and for domain. And for the research domain, we will shift from the fragmented knowledge blocks into the common principles. So if we keep the old traditional paradigm, the breakthrough opportunity will become less and less, and we have to looking for the new paradigm. So that's the first background for change. The second is transdisciplinarity. If we analyze the Nobel Prize in the last century, 20% of the Nobel Prize achievement are transdisciplinary research. But in the last 14 years, in this new century, it is over 40%, particularly for chemistry, even more. And last year, we know all of 3 nature science Nobel Prize are transdisciplinary research. So the next one is the interplay between research and development, and also the science and the society. And we discussed so much about this interaction. So the interaction will become the different activities of R&D will shift from linear interaction to the nonlinear interaction. So that is most important, but still there is big debate, not least in our country. And lastly, we have different aspects. The science become open, global, digitalization, and we have global challenges, of course, also the opportunities. So the bottom-up and top-down strategy is most important. And also the joint action globally also very, very important. So currently we discuss, for instance, government try to rebuild innovation system and expecting more and reward in short term. And the industry reorganizing the research and development structure, many big industry. And the scientific community looking for investment from government. And that's something always debate popularly. But whether or not we have even more important issues to be discussed. And I think 2 issues even more important than I listed: the government, the community, and the industry changes. So most importantly, we should analyze what is the relationship between the disciplinary blocks, knowledge blocks, to remap the disciplines. First. The second one is we should understand what is the logic and the landscape of the knowledge system. And of course, we have still missing links. But what is missing links? If we understand a little bit about the missing links, we know what is the logic of the landscape of knowledge system. That will give us I would like to say that may be a soft infrastructure for research and for education. So that's what I'm going to discuss. And therefore, we should analyze the relationship between different disciplines and the layout of the education and research system based on this relationship. The relationship gives the logic and the landscape. And what is the missing links? For instance, complexity. Everyone discusses complexity. What is the common principles behind complexity? And lastly, are there any common principles for complexities in different fields? So that's the background for my presentation and this discussion currently. And the second aspect, let me discuss what is the common challenges. And from common challenges, we analyze are there any missing links in knowledge system. So I'm a chemical engineer, and so I just give an example in chemical science. Chemical science dealing with 3 different levels of process: material level, reactor level, and factory level. And for each level, multi-scaled. The boundary scale, for instance, molecular and the particles and the reactors and the environment, that we could use the traditional knowledge. However, at these 3 mesoscales in between boundary scales for each level, we have no series available. So that is the missing links in knowledge system. So that is also the reason why we have complexity size. So therefore, we should pay attention to the mesoscale complexity. A little bit detail, what is a mesoscale? For instance, for material level, we know the molecular structures, and we know the materials, but we don't know how to manipulate the mesoscale process to produce the material we need. And for the reactor scale, it's a particle scale, it's a reactor scale, but in between, there's a very complicated dynamic structure. That is the reason why we have scaling up challenges from laboratory scale to industry scale. So even for the social science, individual character, maybe it's easy to understand. The social system is also, you can see, but, the mesoscale, where there is collective behavior, that's critical for the social behavior, social system. So for such a mesoscale structure, currently, we use average approach. For instance, climate change modeling. We still use average approach in a grid. The size is, I think, smallest size is 5 kilometers. So, but the average approach gives problems. For instance, this is a gas-solid system. There is different dense phase, dilute phase, and interphase. The 3 different phases, there are different interaction mechanisms. If we use average approach, these 3 different mechanisms blow away. So that gives 2 big deviations. That is common challenges for different disciplines. And not only for chemical science, but also for all of science, and also for life science. For instance, the protein structure, we are now focused on the crystal structure. That is stationary structure. The function is come from dynamic change. So the dynamic change is the behavior of mesoscale structure. So the mesoscale structure is so critical. And different size share these common challenges, mesoscale complexity. And the logic and the landscape of the knowledge system, I personally believe it is multi-level, each level multi-scaled, and with level-specific mesoscale complexity. That is the missing links in the traditional series. So therefore, we have such a concept of meso size. So that's the common challenges. And then I discuss, are there any common principles for such mesoscale complexities in different fields? The answer is yes. Why? So this, it's analyzed from a chemical system. Any chemical system could be operated in 3 different regimes, and A and B, 2 extreme regimes. But in between, not only A but also B, they play roles jointly. That gives complexity, dynamic change. So this is the compromise in competition between dominant mechanisms. Here, let me see, A and B gives complexity. And if we formulate such a complexity, that gives multi-objective variational problems. So the physical principles as mathematical formulation for different phenomena. So that gives us the driving force to propose the concept of meso size. We studied different systems. 3 decades ago, we studied gas system, and we also studied the turbulence. Turbulence is big challenge. And we studied different systems. Recent years, we studied more systems, including the proton, including interfacial phenomena, and so on. And there is a common principles. The compromise in competition gives the stability conditions for the dynamic structure for all of these systems. And that gives this formulation. This is multi-objective variational problems. So that's what the meso size means. So that is from the chemical science, chemical engineering, but we believe downscale and upscale. We discussed with many scientists, and we try to not conform. We try to looking for the universalities for such a principle. And so preliminarily, the logic and the landscape of knowledge could be as shown as these diagrams, for the commonality and common tools, methods, and the different levels of knowledge from physical science, from chemical science, material engineering, earth science, and universal. But for different engineering fields, energy and material information, and space agriculture, and so on. And, for different levels of knowledge and for different engineering fields, the boundary scale is easy. We are working on that for many years. But for the mesoscale at each level, we have missing link. So that is the critical issues. So that's I indicated that it is possible to have common principles for mesoscale complexity. And the last point, I discuss what is the action we should take. The transdisciplinarity. And we discussed so many years, transdisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity, so much, every conference. Of course, that gives influence of the research, but that is not critical. Critically, we should have soft infrastructure and make the logic and landscape of knowledge system understandable for the scientists. So that gives a big driving force for transdisciplinarity, and which should receive attention from education and also from research. So the transdisciplinarity meanings, currently we have different knowledge from different disciplines, fragmented, just like this. This is the existing education system. We establish the schools, institutes, and we start a fragmented structure. And we believe we should looking for the knowledge system in this way, and try to establish new system, at least new understanding of the different disciplines knowledge. So this, the transdisciplinarity. Current situation, I don't know how about the situation here, but that is the situation in China. The Ministry of Education, they have different disciplines, first level, second level, third level, so many disciplines. And we even have national standard for discipline classification. It's so many sub-disciplines. And we, on NSFC, we have application code almost 3,000. So this application go into these 3,000 clusters, and the evaluation and almost isolated between different clusters. How to promote transdisciplinarity in this way? And for the UNESCO, there are so many disciplines. So it's very difficult to organize transdisciplinarity research. So, and in figure out the structure of or the layout of the education and research, we should pay attention to convergence of knowledge and application, not separate. We should integrate this different knowledge into a single system. For instance, mathematics is a common tool everyone uses. Mechanics also used. Data science and the computational science, that's the common tools. Commonality and the challenges. And then we have the disciplinary knowledge. For instance, is physical science, chemical science, engineering science, earth science, astronomy, life science, information science, and medical science. That's disciplinary knowledge. This is the first component. The second component is applied field. We have specific knowledge. That is also knowledge, but related to applied field. So we should integrate. And most importantly is the commonality in the center. So these three components gives a whole system of the knowledge system. So that shows the logic and the landscape of science and technology. And I just gave an example how to use such a logic. And if we try to construct educational or scientific complex, how to design the framework. And for instance, for energy, different energy, nuclear, renewable, and fossil energy. And, the different levels of development, principle, technology, equipment, and system. And we should have specific teams for doing that. And that is not sufficient. And then we should have interdisciplinary divisions to have different, at the same level, we should study the interdisciplinary between different sectors, the different material, different process, different systems. And then, at a high level, we should have transdisciplinary center for the whole system knowledge. And of course, we need a common platform. So that will be optimized the framework to have high efficiency and, of course, must be competitive. And saving energy, saving money, and make the solution in a little bit shorter time. So let me make a conclusion. Sorry. The first is new scientific research paradigm is emerging. We should pay much attention for that, but not only data intensive. The second is complete understanding of the logic and landscape of knowledge system, which is critical, and much more important than the debate on the invest and the reward. And that should receive attention from not only scientific community, but also the government and the different funding agencies. And this calls for joint efforts from different sectors. And breaking disciplinary boundaries and reconstructing education system and also the research system are most important. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Lee. Thank you for focusing on research. Ruth talked about education. Now we have a better, complete picture of what is going on. Could the scientific academies be these transdisciplinary centers that you talked of?
Yes, I think.
Are they assuming this role now?
Yes. I think the academies of sciences, both sciences and engineering sciences, should play very important roles. Because the government normally pays trust to the academy, to the senior scientists. But I think not so easy. And in the academy, I'm also engaged in the Academy of Sciences for many years. And it's not so easy. But we cannot wait. Yeah? We should start to push. Yeah.
I met a professor of chemistry some time ago in Stockholm, and he said, chemistry is now so specialized, so I don't understand a word of what my professor colleagues in chemistry in Stockholm are doing. This is a problem to the transdisciplinary approach that you have to solve in some way or other.
Yes, I don't know how many chemists here, but I would like to try. Any materials, molecules, including electrons, they move. Yeah? They move, interact. But if they have movement, that becomes chemical engineer. Mm-hmm. That's not, but the chemists pay, of course, attention to such movement, but not sufficient. Mm-hmm. So that means the physicists and the chemical engineers should join together with chemists to solve the problems.
Do you think it's easy to get funding for research on missing links? I come to you, Professor Lee, and say, I want a lot of money to study something. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it actually exists. It's a missing link. And you would say, no, we'll emphasize on more secure research that will give a secure result.
Yeah, you are right. That is also a common challenge for all of funding agencies. If you have a really new idea, normally it is difficult to have money because the peer review, the peer review will reject the proposal.
China is, among other things, an impressive engineering country. You've worked miracles in the past decades. Has the paradigm shift started, and could this be an explanation to your success?
You know, the paradigm shift is not so easy for global action. But my philosophy is we shouldn't wait. We should start from our funding agencies. And if we have such a philosophy, our principles, our priorities, and I think that will play roles. That will give some motivation for the scientists to think in this way.
You know, the theme of this conference is engineering a better world. Will the paradigm shift give us a better world? You talked of climate change modeling. Are there other examples that you could point to?
Yeah. Engineering, you know, is in some countries, the pure science, some people believe is more important than the engineering science. Yeah. But personally, I believe, at least, they are important equally. Because for the global challenges, you must rely on the engineering science, and because that's a huge scale of operation and the manipulation, and so the engineering science could play even more important roles.
Professor Lee, I didn't understand everything, but I can say that I was greatly inspired, and sometimes it's better to be inspired than to understand everything. So thank you for your, thank you for your excellent contribution. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was very good to have you with us today. Thank
you for your, I appreciate your studying so much.
Let's take a break. Welcome back.